Good afternoon, सबको मेरा नमस्कार. This is International Master and Federation Trainer Sekhar Sahu welcomes you on behalf of Sports Authority of Gujarat and Gujarat State Chess Association to this intermediate training session. So here Kishan Shah, Kian Shah, Swayam Das, Parvat Thakkar and Basal Parikh are welcome. As I told you, this session I will discuss opening ideas, finding good moves in opening, how to create threats, how to create weaknesses, how to take initiative against bad positions. So let's have a look at one very strong attacking grandmaster from Hungary. He was my good friend, he passed away. Zula Sachs. And his opponent is Master Zula. So the game started with e4. Now the more correct move, black should play e5 or c5 Sicilian or Caro-Kann or French. These are the best things. I would say number one as of today is Sicilian. Then next to Sicilian e4 e5 is the best. Then you can play Caro-Kann or French. Other moves gives advantage to white because of easy center control. For example, knight f6 or knight c6 or g6 or d6. For example, mc6. Now, if white will play knight f3, it will a mere transposition to any of the openings. Knight f3, d5 center counter, or e5 it is really regular e5 line. Or you play d6, it will go towards perp or g6. So knight f3 is good way that will transpose to one of the main lines of opening. So he is insisting on odd line, that is idea to play bishop g4 and put pressure on the center. Now the point is, if white plays bishop e2, black can take bf3 and then play e5. That is his idea. Then bishop on f3 will not be so good. And you know the main plan that if this is played, I will tell you how the game could have been proceed. The black will play knight f6. Now the pawn is attacked. So these are all in premature moves. So knight c3 will come. And now he will play bishop takes knight. Bishop takes. And now e5. Now after d5, now the position of the bishop is not so good here. And black prepared to play now g6, bg7, castle, and prepare for eventual f5. For example, now a model variation, castle, black will play either g6. There is no point wasting too much time here. There is g6. Now maybe you will play bishop g5, maybe bishop g5, bg7, queen d2, now castle. The point is, white has bishop pair, but there are not enough diagonal for the bishops. So the bishop on f3 is not doing so great. So this is not a dangerous position. And all black need is to move the knight on f6 and play with f5. So this is what is one of his idea of black, that if he plays bishop e2, the game could have gone in this direction. That is why here Zula Sachs plays c3. Now bishop f3 will be pointless. Queen f3 and bishop c4 will come. So now bishop d3. Now knight d2, waiting for the bishop to come. There is a threat on b7. So black sets a trap, castle. Of course, queen into f7 will be a blunder because of bishop e6. Hello, Parth Kuntal Raval, and welcome. Now, white has got already a good center. He has to complete development to reinforce his advantage. So, bishop pawn push forced. Knight a5, there is a danger that knight will get trapped. Okay, so he plays knight e5, knight into knight. So white can count on an opening advantage. In the opening stage, you should have a good center, good pawn structure, good pieces, well placed, and safety of the king. I think white is meeting all that. His king is not castled. It's not a very serious thing. He can castle in 2-3 moves. So f3 only move. Now there is no need to play g4 and go after the bishop. Plus knight c4. Because main problem is to complete development tempo. There is no easy way to support the pawn. This is all bad now. This position has turned out to be very bad. Knight into pawn is threatened e5. It should be winning. Now you can get a further tempo on bishop f4 with a discover attack. This is bishop f4. Idea knight g6 is completely winning. Knight f7 also wins. Knight g6 wins. Now this sort of move actually, when the player is outplayed, no, the player asks. They want tactics. Hello, Pratham Singh Jhala and Khanak Dekh Vaidya. You can easily win now. Rook attacked, queen attacked, a7 attacked. He could have also played knight g6 wins. Okay, this is very easy. Only move. Because if you play king, knight c6 check is again coming. King b8 loses. Only move king. Only. I don't think the position needs further analysis. Material down, position is down. So we should always know where is the mistake. So always we should justify where is the mistake. For example, I would say black is not doing badly. No, this is not correct. Now, if I am black, I am having black pieces, I would play knight here first. Develop the knight. Former world champion Immanuel Lasker said, knight should be brought before bishops. Now, the point is knight c3 is the best. If you play bishop d3, bg4 gives trouble again. That means knight c3. Now the pawn is no more coming to c3. Now this is a real threat. Bishop into knight, and white don't like to play pawn into f3. Queen f3, then d4 pawn. That means he will play bg4. Once again he will play e5. So this is the better move order that black should have chosen. So this is a wrong timing. I would say it is a wrong timing. Best knight f6, knight c3 and bg4. I think this is better move order of even now white is better. But this is how he should have played. Okay, let's go to the next game. What I will do, I will ask questions at a critical moment. For example, here I could have asked you a question, what should black play? Okay. Right. Zula Sachs versus Damasoro. This is a center counter game. Now there are standard move is queen takes d5, which is mostly played. But better is knight f6, because instead of queen up and down, the knight should come and take the pawn. But there is a thing that pawn c4 is transposed to Pano-Botvinnik attack. Now c4 is the best line, I would say, or knight f3 best line. So he plays d4. Okay. Now, if white wants to play simple chess, bishop e2, and then develop the pieces quickly with a small advantage. But white is more ambitious. Bishop check. What he is hoping, c6, pawn takes pawn, bishop now plays c6, knight. No, c6 is not good. Pawn takes pawn. Now bishop takes queen, a new queen is coming anyway. Pawn into rook, and you will take the bishop, too much material also. This is also to be noted. But instead of this move, he could have played also pawn check. Idea, you play queen, c8 queen, or if you come, pawn into queen check and one extra piece. This feels like a piece up. So it's not a good idea. Not a good idea. Rook into if just one piece down for black. So we have to see, we have to respect that a strong player is giving a check. You should not play c6. So and d7. Now, of course, there are moves like knight f3 is a possibility. But white does not want to give back the material. Because if you black cannot recover, then black is lost. He very easily lost. So he wants to push the bishop first. How he is going to recover the pawn now? There is what is the mode of recovery? I don't see any way he can recover. Some compensation. I would say black has some compensation in the activity of the pieces. And the immediate threat is to play c6 to recover the pawn. How should white play now? How should white play? You can play d5. You can play knight d2. There are so many ways to play. So all you have to see, he wants to recover, so does not allow that. Okay, now you may ask me why not c6. For example, if you play c6, you can play d5. Now you take, this is just a bad position, the king position. You can play queen e2, you can play knight into pawn. Yeah, Parmar gives d5. So he ignores that and c3, pinning the knight. So extra pawn is maintained. So if black cannot recover the pawn, black must get some compensation, otherwise he is going to lose. Come back. He wants to now the plan of counterplay that a discover attack is coming. So knight e2 covers that. Of course, short castle is also getting an advantage, but white does not like his queen against the black rook. So moves this. Not enough for the piece. Black has been outplayed and insufficient compensation for the piece. Please note that bishop into bishop is not a good idea, then a new weakness will come. Now, you do not be eager to exchange. You are a piece up, but don't be eager. Bishop into bishop, pawn into, then you have to worry about the d3 check. So, first you place this. Taking the pawn, then there is a problem. Rook b1 will come, or I can castle also. That will help white to castle. Now bishop into bishop is threatened. It should be okay. This should be perfectly alright now. White should win the game. Extra piece and no activity for black. But anyway, I will tell you the modern approach. I will tell you. Now, if you look at the top grandmaster, they don't try to hold on to the pawn like this of c4, d4. Obviously, this is not a great move because black can play c6 and pawn takes pawn. Black has control of center. The pawn cannot come. compensation. A model position, suppose you play knight f3. Now e5 can come. You have to stop e4. Now bishop c5 can come. Now you play b2. The position, the bishop is passive, the backward pawn, weak square. This is the advantage for black. Okay, I can show you a model move, queen to e7. Idea to bring one of the rooks. One of the rooks will now come to this point, giving trouble. bg4, rd8 or direct rd8. You can prepare to play bf5 and now bring a rook to d8 or this rook to d8. Compensation. That is why one must not be greedy in the opening area, opening stage. So, not hang on to the pawn. I would say the modern approach is, at this point, ignore that pawn and play just knight f3. Knight f6. Now play knight f3. And now knight into pawn has, if queen takes pawn, knight c3 is only a transposition. So knight into pawn. Now d4. Now black should prepare to castle. Should not block the bishop path. Maybe this is correct. And now you can play c4. Now knight c3. Now he will get some tempo. Tempo means time. White will gain time. Now knight d5. This is too passive. Knight d5 and gain a tempo. Gain a tempo. Now if you play bishop is black plays b6, then queen b3 another tempo. b7 or that. So you would rather take knight into knight. Knight into knight, pawn into castle. The position, obviously white has got better center, better space and open line. Now personally, if I am playing white pieces, I do not like the bishop coming to g4. This bishop has no good mobility. So maybe I should say that this is a good move. I need the knight because knight and pawn are watching this square. And now suppose you play some move like bf5 or maybe whatever you do, black has got an inferior position in center. Maybe he will play c6 because, and now castle and maybe bishop f5. Here rook e1, white is better. White are better center space and lot of targets. He can have many easy plans. Bishop g5, queen d2 plan, then queen e2 plan, queen b3 plan. Lot of plan available at white's disposal. White के पास बहुत कुछ plan है और अच्छा position है. So I would say this is the simplest way white should play knight f3 and do not allow any kind of activity. And I would say knight f3, supposing instead of this move, black tries to play bishop f5. Hello Ramakrishna. Okay, let us say today's topic is opening forum. Now this session I will devote to opening forum, find good moves and ideas in opening stage, mistakes and counter mistakes. Now let us say black plays bishop f5. So how should white continue? White has the better game, but white has to find a logical move and a plan. Can somebody suggest me what good plan you can do? Both sides. Now I am asking to you, let us say this is Normal, I showed you, he can play g6, e6. But what happens? Bishop f5. How can you count an advantage? It is Ramakrishna, the opening is just begun. For example, now the center counter. Now normal moves, queen takes pawn, knight f. Knight f6, I recommend simple modern approach. No, I would recommend knight f3. Knight f3. Now, if he plays knight into pawn, or he can play bishop f5. So knight into pawn he can play. So you can play d4. Suppose bishop f5. I want you to find good moves in opening. What will you do? Nobody gets a winning position in opening. We have to follow strictly the principles of opening, and strategically it should be well played and good moves. So bishop, now black has played, white is better when you look at the diagram. But that means you should have many good moves. What should you do? Manish Radia says c4. I want more answers so I can choose. Hello Kite. I want more answers, more suggestions so I can pick up the right one. Ramakrishna says knight e5. So I have got two answers. One is c4, one is knight f5. What else? Prithviraj Bhomik says bishop c4. Yes, I have got three answers. I will discuss each of your idea. Bishop d3. Okay. Now, four answers. I prefer bishop d3. Okay, let me discuss one by one. Now, if you play c4, now he can come with a threat. I do not like that I have to defend in opening stage like knight a3. So, of course, white is having a move, but why do this sort of move at the opening stage? So, let us not do c4. The other move is bishop c4. Hardly it is a threat. Suppose you play bishop c4, he will give a counter attack. Again, I have to move the bishop. If I move the bishop, maybe he will play, just e6, b7 castle. Not dangerous. A Caro-Kann structure will come. So, I don't think bishop c4 is dangerous. He can play even c6, not c4. I would say knight e5 is interesting, but we should not move to same piece again and again in opening. Because at the moment the position is not clarified. So I would say rather we should complete development. I would say bishop d3 is a good move. Doing two things. Number one, he is completing development, getting ready to castle, and giving a threat. Giving a threat. That means if you play bishop takes bishop, then again the threat is maintained. Again there is a queen b5 threat. And black has not done anything on his king side. White is ready to castle. This is good. Now, for example, I would say, let us say you play move like what can I say now? I think all this was played between Vasilin Topalov versus Gata Kamaski. It was all played, and White got a clear better game. For example, why not see that game? Topalov Kamsky. So in that game, black played e6, castle, c4. Now white got a clear battle. What all from opening you need? You have castle, your rooks are connected, you have good center. Excellent position. Black knight on b6 is not so well placed. He can play nb5 any moment. So this definitely gives an advantage to white. Now he should castle quickly without doing anything. But black became greedy. Black became very greedy now. Like black played g5, g4. Winning material at the cost of development, at the cost of the king position, at the cost of weakening the position, entire board. So he played the bad move g5. Bishop, knight e5. So he has to now win the pawn. Queen takes pawn is bad. Queen takes pawn, if you play queen takes pawn, you just play simply queen e2. Because white is a pawn down, now you cannot take long castle, the f7 attack. Now rook d1 is coming. Rook f d1, rook d1 is coming. It is terrible position. Now b3, so that free the e5 knight. Now the c4 pawn, the knight is on, so play b3. The position is disaster. Now the simply threat of pawn to a3 is killing. Now you will play h5. Now this uncastled king, the queen is badly placed. You might even get trapped, at some point of time. Like bishop e1 can come. This is a terrible position. For example, even why not play knight into knight and then bishop e5 followed by bishop c3. So this is just a disaster. So you cannot take with the queen, and if you take with the knight, that is what actually happened in the game. Here it took with the knight. Another bad move. Now my suggestion, I should say, I will wait. Let you suggest now. How should white punish black for playing this? How should white punish black for this extravaganza, for this unnecessary adventure of winning pawn? पनिश करो ब्लैक को, कैसा? Very well played, Subrat Biswas, c5. The reason is, now black wants to consolidate with c5. Black has an extra pawn, and after c5, I don't think white can do much. He will strengthen, consolidate the d4 point. So now white is a pawn down. So don't look for material. Now don't allow c5. So c5 yourself. What a move. Very well played. c5 very well played. Knight into g4 is very risky, Ramakrishna, because he can attack your g5 open, h5, and you will try to exchange, and this is not a good position. I don't think it's a good idea. I don't think so, because knight on center. So this is an excellent move played by Topalov. And now the simple threat. White is giving a very simple direct threat of knight e5, and then the pawn, this is lost. How is he going to now defend the threat? So only move. Again only move. Now white is winning the game, completely winning the game. Because the black's king position is not worth discussion. There is the cover of the castle position is horrible and there is no guard. So he took knight into pawn. Now the material factor is not also, it is encouraging just one extra pawn with so many weaknesses. How should white play now? After that I will go to the original game. How should white play? It is a question, Ramakrishna, how material down but compensation. There are two type of game. A player just improves without giving material, playing solid and positionally. Other player, there are other category, they don't mind giving one or two pawn, calculated risk. I would say this is a very safe and calculated risk. For being one pawn, how much you have got? Terrific position. I would say the knight on b6 is doing nothing. The king side is weak. So many squares. Now the position is lost only. I would say black is lost now. Though he is one extra pawn. How to finish this position? Okay, I want to invite your suggestion. Other than the f1 rook, all pieces are in action. If rook 1 e1, that is also working. So all the pieces are working. Good center, good king side. So how should you punish? Farmer Joy says queen 3. Where queen 3? q3. Subrat Biswas says bishop. Very good. Subrat Biswas, very good. This is finishing the game. Finishing the game. Now the threat is made. The threat is made and anyway the knight will come. Pawn into knight not possible. Knight h6 mate. He must lose the queen to avoid getting mated. And if he plays like this, the knight into rook is there, knight check is there. Yes, getting a winning position and converting, it needs lot of experience. You need lot of experience, you need lot of accuracy. So this is a disaster. All right, I will go to the original game. Just a minute. Yeah. So here, hello Mukund Agarwal, welcome. So that means this was just a bad idea. Jula Sachs punished for winning the pawn. He beat very badly. Next. So this is also white is better. This position. Hello Suyak Patel, welcome. It is a matter of choice. This is a good position. But why this move? White is developing knight and white's plan is to play g3, bg2 and bf4 and lot of tempo. I would say preference that I don't want to play knight f3 along bg4. I would say bishop d3 is a good move. The reason is I am not committing my knight. So bishop g4 will come. Now if he plays e6, his bishop on c8 is doomed. This is a bad move. Now what is he going to do? Suppose you play bishop g4 now. I will play f3. Forced. Note, please note that you don't have time. You do not have time to take the pawn. Check is there. So bf3, bishop g4, f3. Now bishop will come. Knight e2 with a development and a tempo is coming here. Big advantage. White is getting a tempo for development and black is underdeveloped and bad center. Opening में हमको तीन चीज चाहिए. We need three things out of opening. That is a quick castling, rapid development, good control of center. So this is our good control and rapid development is there, and we are going to castle. For example, suppose you play pawn. Now bishop will come. Now you have to play. These are further bad moves. Suppose you play here. These are very bad moves because you can play a3 and you can't take the pawn. You cannot take the pawn. So you have to play some move like queen d7, queen d7. And now white can play queen d2 long castle. You can castle this way. You want to attack with g4, g5 later. So queen d2 long castle with a fantastic position. So I would say this is a bd3 is a good choice. But anyway, grandmaster knight f3, not a bad idea. This is also good. Why this move? For example, now suppose you play mechanically in c6 with the plan to bishop f5 castle. So knight b5 will come. Now you play c4 with an excellent center. Center control. That is the reason to avoid nb5 and c4, black plays a6 to stop that maneuver. It is important that we should understand the idea behind each opening moves. So, knight e5 is a threat. Plus minus. Now, okay, why this move? You ask me why bf4 is not coming? Because he has a player grandmaster knows when to grab the initiative. This idea having two ideas. Number one, once the bishop is exchanged, the queen becomes too powerful in the diagonal. This and this. 2 points. Second, that bf4 comes with a tempo. Discover attack. So this is really good stuff. So here bishop into bishop, king into b4, queen tempo, only move. Now there is no time to take the knight. Knight into f7 picks up the rook. They cannot castle in first 15 moves in 50% of games. Okay, it is like it is up to. It is not that it is. They don't know. They know all the rules. They know, but fight for initiative goes on. It has become like cutthroat. Earlier, not many players were doing that. They used to castle quickly, but nowadays they wanted more dynamic positions. They don't want static positions. When the king castles, the positions become static because your plan is fixed. You can do it. When the king is uncastled, you do not know where the king is going. So it is a dynamic position. Now, there is no time for the black to take the c3 knight. You have to meet the threat. This is very bad. Whatever do it is bad. You cannot blame anything. You play queen d4, knight into c6 is winning. Finish. Rook d1 will come now. Now the king is stuck in the center and full of pawn weaknesses. Now this is lost, completely lost. You have to give threats. Collect the b2 pawn. f6 is attacked. Lost. Next. I can pick up any game, but I want to show an attacking player's game. Sachs was a very strong attacking player. He's basically, fundamentally, he never liked rash positions. You see, Velimirovic, Tal, they are in different category. So, there are standard attacking players, means they wanted attack, Anand or Fischer. They never compromised any kind of positional features for attack. Go strategically sound and then grab the initiative at right time. e5. Now knight f3. Actually, in fact, there are at this moment there are two critical lines. One is bishop g4 and other one is g6. So bishop g4 is the main line. The second main line is to play g6. I will discuss g6, bishop g4. Now, black cannot win a pawn, bishop into f3, bf3 will come threatening b7. After bf3, no time to get, because b7 will attack. So, it takes c6. Okay, now pawn into pawn will not be good. Because after pawn into pawn, strategically this is sound. Bishop takes pawn, queen f3. Now queen takes pawn. White is pawn down, but white has got a tremendous position. Because white can just castle, idea rook d1. White can just castle, idea rook d1. White can, after castle, white can play knight f7, idea queen f3 check and queen b7. These are the problems that he has to reckon with. That is why I think such a capture was done by whom? By Resvesky in Alekhine-Resvesky game, but not from Alekhine, I guess. So, in this position, he plays bc6. Pawn takes pawn. Intermediary move. Now, white is clearly better. Okay, when I say that white is better, I have to support my statement. Why should be white better? I want somebody to suggest why white is better here. White has lost his castle chance. Then what is so good about white? Please, I want somebody to comment. Please tell me why white is better. One answer I got. Okay. Double bishop advantage. I do agree, because black white square bishop is not there. White double. What else? I need to know more features. something more. Some more features, please. Yeah, strong IQP. One more. Uncastled king. So many weaknesses. C4, knight is hanging. This knight is unsupported. So he can get a tempo. D file. Once G3, king G2, threat is coming. Rook E1 threat is coming. This is very annoying. G3, king G2 is very annoying. Uncastled king, unprotected knight, and underdeveloped pieces. This is just a bad position. The game continued. Knight C3. Now this is redundant knight. Redundant knight. Finish. I want to open the C line. Two bishops are waiting to hit. The white's bishop are positioned very nicely. Oh, I will tell you, a player cannot take initiative in a bad position. Backfire. It will boomerang. And now he is giving a threat. Only move. There is no time for him to take. Queen C1 will come with double threat, double attack. He resigned. Actually, the game is anywhere lost. Hopeless position. So, what I mean to say, we should always see where is the mistake has come. Okay. No, this is a mistake. You know, he should have played now trying to develop his pieces. E6 is correct. Now knight C3, bishop E7, castle, and white has got a small advantage after pawn takes pawn. Bishop takes pawn is not playable, pawn into pawn. Now you can just develop the bishop and wait. Bishop E3 is a good move. Bishop F4 good move. Bishop E3. To me, waiting the knight to come, so D5 with an advantage. Now pawn takes pawn, knight takes pawn, knight into, queen into, and white has got a target now. The D line will come. So white has got a better game. Okay, you can avoid it. You can avoid all this by playing pawn into pawn. I told you the knight into pawn get a good game. So this is the main line. Castle, pawn takes pawn. Now pawn into pawn. Bishop F4 or E3. White is better. Okay. Yeah, queen was awkward in E7. That is also a point in the last diagram. Very well played. Okay. Black is doing better than last game. Black is in a strong international master. So, because castle, pawn takes pawn, better game, so he takes it. Bad thing. Underdeveloped, It is against the opening principle. A player should not go pawn hunting in opening stage without completing development. So, rook d1. Okay, I want you to think and tell me how white should punish black now. Let me see how you plan punish black for going against the opening principles. Subrat Biswas says NB5 and B4. Why not direct B4? I mean to say, why not direct B4? Fantastic. You can play knight B5 and then he may play bishop to D6 attacking the knight. So, why not direct pawn B4? You have to take that. Now, NB5 with so many threats. Bishop A3 is coming and C7 is directly attacked. Only move. Now you can play bishop F4. You can play so that Queen F3, double attack. B7 and F7. Cannot castle. If you castle now, the problem is bishop A3 wins material. Winning the bishop, free. So, cannot castle. Now, there is a Queen C6 is a threat. Nasty threat, Queen C6. There is hardly he can defend. The position is hopeless. So, what I meant to say, of course, other than pawn B4, you have lot of good moves. You can play knight B5 and then B4, BE3, lot of good moves. Bishop F4, anything is coming good. But most effective way, grab the initiative. Forced, tempo, forced, winning. Which is the most theoretical opening? Sicilian. Ramakrishna, there is maximum number of theoretical variation, maximum theory on Sicilian. I mean, lot of theory. Other than Sicilian, I would say after Sicilian it is Roy Lopez. Sicilian maximum theory is there, then Roy Lopez, King's Indian, Sicilian, Roy Lopez, King's Indian, Grunfeld defense, and then Nimzo Indian defense. So much theory on these systems. Okay. Okay. So I would like to take you to another opening discussion. This is funny. E4, E6. If you want to play modern, then directly this is better. This is playable. Now knight f3, knight c3, d6. It is a normal way, the d6. But e6, g6 does not go well. This is funny. Now, why make the bishop bad? If the pawn on d6, there is no bad piece will come. Now a bad pieces come on the board. So white takes the initiative directly because of the bad situation. I told you there are some grandmaster, they will not compromise, but the position black has played badly, he want to punish right away. So h4. If you allow h5, it is very annoying, so you have to play h5. Then the g5 square has become weak. We should not exchange. Let black exchange. The black square will be weak and development better. So how should you develop? Just try to, because you want to castle queen side, your king side pawns are not so settled. So white wants a queen side castle, queen, castle. Now the black is facing the problem. See, we can say they are least playable theoretically. Yeah, many gambits are refuted because they are not forced. I would say Queen's Gambit is sound. King's Gambit is okay, not bad. But there are some alto-falto gambits. I do not believe Gambit one time was a blunder. How did Gambit come? Somebody played and it is a blunder. Then they found out, oh, there is some compensation, there is some threat. Gambit means a pawn sacrifice. Alright. Now black is experiencing difficulty developing in the king side. Knight cannot be developed now. So he is making provision. Next he wants to play knight f6. No knight f6. Pawn into pawn is worse. After pawn takes pawn, you can play knight into e5. f6 is not coming. Then g6 will come. So, the position is terrible now for black. He has made, c8 bishop terrible, and no king side development is possible. You should start giving threats now. At the moment you can take one prophylactic move kb1, so there is no danger, or you can prepare queen f4 and bishop into, and then idea knight g5. Castle will lead to a mating attack. On castle queen h6 will go, and then knight g5 will terrible. So threat. Castle is met by g4. It will crush. So, okay, you have got a good position. Everything is good. How to continue the game now? Can you suggest how to take initiative in this position? There are many plans. You can play knight h7 and idea knight f6 check. Knight h7 attack rook. Rook will move. No, knight check, pawn into, white is better. You can play g4, idea pawn into pawn h5. Take the initiative. g4, hg, h5 takes rook into pawn with a big initiative. g4 is a good move. Knight h7 good move. King b1. You have to find lot of good moves and select one. So g4. Idea, I want to open the line quickly and crush the king. Pawn into pawn, h5 will come. Now if you will play pawn into pawn, you need not waste time with queen into pawn. You need not waste time, just h5. Forced. Now rook into pawn. Third attack is coming. So it is initiative is become very strong. So he plays here c5, attacking center. Mate threat, not mate threat. The knight d6 is very bad. Gone. All over. You cannot take that. It will lead to mate in 3. Knight check and queen check, now mate. You cannot take king f7. Resigns. So this is the result of playing the opening move badly. For example, e4, e6. This is very bad. You want to play, you must play bishop g7 and d6. Don't mix up things. I saw one player, see, I will tell you. This is it is upgraded and some behaving very funny. For example, I saw a game. White is Tiviaco, black I think is Armenko. I don't know, remember, in Calcutta. e4, c5. Knight f3, knight c6. d4, cd, knight d4. Knight f6, knight c3. Now the standard move is to play d6. This is leading to classical Sicilian. The other second best move is to play e6. Idea, bishop b4 leading to Sicilian 4 knights. But this is inferior. Knight into knight and e5, white has a better game. Wrong move order, escalated, knight f6. So this is. But suppose you play this sort of moves are bad. This is definitely bad. I guess Tiviaco punished. Let me see 1 second. I don't know. Not many game is there. That game is missing, Tiviaco, because it might not have been recorded. Threat. One pawn gone. Just pawn down. So, I mean, say, premature things in opening stage, a player should not choose to. Then initiative will be very strong. Stronger players will punish. 100% they will punish. What is this? Okay, standard Caro-Kann. Now knight f3 is there, bishop d3 is there. This is another move. You can wait also, play with c3. Knight f6, I wait knight f3. Why this is, I have made c3, that I can play bd3 when there is nc6 and d4 is not there. Let us say you play bishop g4. So here, I can play queen b3. Intermediary move. I want to take the b7 pawn. Now suppose you play, I will take the initiative now. White gets a good game. Now if you say the bishop bf4 is coming. So this is sort of a waiting tactics is possible. Knight f3 is an interesting move. Knight f3 is the main line. After knight f3, bishop g4, bishop f4 is the main line. You can play this move order. Okay, place bishop g5. Now there is no nf3, so bishop g4 does not come with a pin. There is now simply want to castle, and bishop g4 can be met with f3. Okay, you may ask me why b3 is played. Every move has a logic. The idea of the move is after castle, I want to play bishop h6, but then the b2 pawn will be hanging. So he wants to keep the provision ready to exchange when he wants. Exchanging that bishop. I think already black has got a lot of problem. He has a problem on the e4 pawn, and also the center is not so good. He cannot castle king side. Already black is experiencing difficulty. Okay. Clearly white position is clearly superior. How should white play now? e4, c5, and c3, d6, d4, cd, queen d4. Yeah, it is a very good move order. It is a very good move order. I lost a game to Grandmaster Konstanko on this move order. I was black. I made some mistake and lost badly. Okay, now this position, white has got a tremendous position because the e4 pawn it is lost, and simply black pieces are not good, and kingside attack is possible. Just one extra pawn and no good compensation. And black king is also not very safe. So the move order turned out badly. Where did he go wrong? I don't see this is a dangerous. This position, it is not dangerous. I think, yes. No. You should develop the knight quickly. Depending, the knight to come and bg4 will play. Fischer-Peterson went on knight f3, bg4, queen b6, knight a4, then queen coming here, bishop d7. This was there, but later on they found out that there is a simple move. Black need not play knight a5, the bad move, but black can simply play queen c8. Because queen d7 runs into knight e5. So queen c8. And black position is not bad. This is a very sound position. So this is how he should have played. In the Petrosian played this bad move and was beaten badly by Fischer in 1970. Oh no, 1970. USSR, rest of the world. So here I would say that he should play knight develop quickly. But instead of that, he plays g6, which is not correct. One of the idea, you can go for later on h4, h5 any castles. White stands better. Further, another bad move. I would say the position you must develop minor pieces and castle. There are sometimes a psychological fear. White is a well-known attacking player. So black says that if I castle, he may exchange the bishop and start storming kingside pawns. That psycho fear. That nothing has come, but in the mind that fear is moving. So what is wrong? You castle, sound, nothing, no danger. Nothing happens. So you have to develop and castle. Let us say you start playing h4. Alright. Now he wants to play h5, exchange, then bishop h6, and like dragon Yugoslav attack and attack. So how are you going to handle this position? I don't see. This cannot be bad. Black cannot be lost in such positions. because use castle. What you should do, maybe here, first you go for knight e4. Knight e4. Because after bishop into knight, pawn into h5 and take pawn into, so I will open up. Your double bishop is gone. Okay, you can do this, or you can even play knight c6. Wait for him to play h5. Knight c6. If h5 is there, play knight e4. Now you take, I take. There is no white square bishop. Pawn into pawn can met be. So it is very difficult. White has not developed, completed. He cannot attack. We have to make simple logical moves without having any fear in mind. Okay. Fear is the key. No, h5, no, I do not like to weaken the position. I do not like to play h5 here. Here, I don't like to weaken the position further. For example, in move order, let me show you. Let us say e4, d6. d4, now I play knight f6. Now knight c3, g6. And black plays b8. White plays b8. Knight is before bishop, but you play bg7, he starts an attack. Because you play h4, he may play h5. That is the idea. So he stops that and he plays g4. Now the plan is to play h4, h5. Suppose black player is not an experienced player, he will have lot of problem in this position. Lot of problem for black. In fact, black has nothing to worry. A central blow can be met with a wing attack can be met with a central blow. You have many good moves here. You can play pawn c5. Yeah, I will play c5. Now, you play pawn into pawn, I will play queen a5. There is a threat. There is a threat on e4. Now you play bishop d2, I will play queen takes pawn. So black center is not bad. Now, I am not castled. Whom are you attacking? Are you playing h4, h5? For whom? A shot in the blank. So, you should have faith in your position. Suppose somebody plays this thing g4, you can play c5. This is not the only move. You have got other moves. For example, I would believe who started this. It could be Smyslov. No, not in this variation, maybe some Sicilian dragon. Okay, let's see in the position g4 will be there. Maybe black. I'm not getting. Yeah, here Subrat Biswas NC6 and C5, good plan. C5 is a good plan. So let us see some master how they handle this variation. I would like to go for solid player like Sekhar Sahu. Sekhar Sahu, very strong understanding of the position. He plays C6. So what is the achievement? What White has achieved now? No achievement. You cannot castle king side also. I would prefer black here. White pawns are overextended and underdeveloped also. Black has a weak point. The rook on g8, it is not so well placed. White has an open h file, but what is he going to do with that h file? Excellent for black. Let us say another modern grandmaster. I would like to take you Epimenko. Epimenko. Okay, this is also prophylactic move. Knight e4 threat. b4 threat. Development minor pieces. Excellent. Now he wants to play c4 and take knight into e4. I want to take the center pawn and bb7 with threat. Forced. You can't push the pawn. That is all bad. White center is blown out. So development without attack without development will always be boomerang, counter attack will come. Let us say modern grandmaster. Knight into knight, you will have problem on king side. After knight into knight, pawn into. Now there is a problem, the knight is not coming and black will also blow the center with c5. So this is not desirable for white. So he plays same thing transposed. What is the achievement? The e5 pawn is anyway gone. Black is better, the pieces activity. So g4, you can have a counter attack on the center with direct c5 also, c6 also. Okay. Maurya Patel, sir, where are you from this much days? Okay. Okay. I was, you can see, I have come under a transformation, some change. So a week off was good for me. Hello Niranjan. Good to see you again. Very nice to meet you here again. So let us see some other opening. I am just trying to show you the idea of an attacking player and how the players prematurely react to it. So Yugoslav attack. Sicilian dragon. Now if you play b2 castle, that is classical. Suppose you play f4, b2 castle. This is a classical system which is not dangerous at all for black. The only thing to tame the dragon is to play Yugoslav attack. If you want to beat the dragon, there is no second option. The only method, Yugoslav attack. b3, f3, queen d2, long castle, g4, h4 and attack. So bishop e3. The reason is, now in this position knight g4 is a blunder. Bishop b5 check. So f3, now he is threatening ng4. Now the ng4 is a threat. So f3 is stopping that. Why this move? Of course you can castle here. The reason now he is giving that knight is now watching the square. So this can be a threat. Idea, not a threat. Want to hit the center. So either you should play bishop to c4 or you can play g4. Bishop c4 you don't allow. You can play g4 also stop. d5, g5 you will win one pawn. Or you can play queen d2 and long castle, allow that. A critical moment on the board. g4 is not dangerous because black has not castled. So just you are stopping d5 doesn't mean that it is a good move. He has many moves here. For g4 you can play knight into knight and bishop e6. Then what is the achievement of black? White, nothing. So I would rather say bishop c4, the second best alternative is queen d2. Bishop c4, stopping d5. Now the standard move here is to castle first. And after castle, white has to play queen d2, h4, or long castle and h4, g4. But he is not opening his card. He wants to play rook c8. That means suppose you start an attack, it is not at the moment viable. So rook c8 is coming, castle. So it has become a regular line now. Now you can make long castle or you can play h4. Both are good. Long castle. Main line. This is called the Chinese dragon, which is, in my opinion, is not dangerous. Okay, rook c8. Now the bishop is under attack. So bishop moves. Here we are at a crossroad. We can play h4, h5 plan, or we can just wait with king b1, looking out for what black is doing. We can play kb1. Idea, he may play rook c5, he may play c4. So bishop g5. Interesting idea. One of the idea is, that he wants to play f4, e5 plan. One of the idea that rook and queen, they are watching this point. That means if he can play f4, e5 and then at right time hit the knight to win the bishop. This is one of the idea. I don't think a player on principle should not play on that side where opponent is strong. Now white's pawns are ready. He is ready to storm and open up. So black, anything doing on king side, it will be like a self goal only. So this is a really terrible move. Then why did he play? Because he did not like g4 is coming. But we should not compromise the king side. I would say, suppose you give a pawn, I can justify, though it is a bad move, at least you are doing something on the queen side. So, the position, you can play a6, b5 plan, you can play nc4 plan, but this is question mark. Not doing anything. Okay, thank you Niranjan, Ramakrishna, Niranjan, good evening. Another bad move. h5 was bad. Now piece leaving the center. So you can play bishop h6 now. Now the king side is bad and the knight has left the center. The position is terrible for black. And if the knight is not there, queen g6 check can come. All these things you should take into account. Okay. For example, you can play directly also f4 now. This is bad. Just now, Sicilian dragon, it comes often, but not in this position. When there is a sort of counter attack, queen coming to a5, rook coming immediately, not knight on h7. It should win now, because knight moves, queen into g6 is crushing. So only move. If a knight moves anywhere here, queen g6 will crush. So only way to stop. It is very close to resignation now. The king side is horrible. Third rank, rook lift. So I would say it is not worth discussing. Where is the mistake always you should notice? The first mistake here, this is all normal. Normal. Okay, this is okay, normal. Now, this is not a good move. You should play here. You can play rook to e8, rook c5. This is a good move. Rook c5. Idea b5. This is a nice move at the moment. Suppose you play here. Now, for example, at the moment, white can start with h4, or white can wait for one move. So this is a good choice. Even I would say this is making a sense, because any moment bishop h6, you can save the bishop at h8. So these are good, but this is just a first dubious move. First dubious move. And second dubious move, immediately another bad move. I would say this move is a question mark. Leaving the center. Okay, I will leave this. I will go to the next one. It is interesting, Nasdor b3 leads to English attack. There are two main lines. Bishop g5 is the old main line. Now b3, f3, queen d2, g4 is a more English attack, most popular nowadays. So black has opted the Scheveningen setup. Keras attack is good against Scheveningen. g4. Of course, a6 has been interpolated. Black can here you can play be2 and g4, or direct g4 also. And now other setup is f4. This is very easy to understand. f4 is very easy. The idea is simply queen f3 and castle with an attack. Direct queen f3 is not good because you are blocking the f pawn. So here f4 with the idea queen f3 and long castle. Straightforward is giving a threat of knight at e5. Castle. White is already having an excellent position. Normally in such positions, white makes long castle. Normally. Okay, this is also not bad. A prophylactic move. The reason is you must take into account that rd1 or move like this, he can take and play e5, threatening bishop g4. And some moment knight to knight and e5 and ng4, then bishop is not a good square. So he wants to avoid go away from the diagonal as well, and a room for the bishop on g1 as well. White is better. White has excellent setup, good center. You need to find a right plan, how to attack the position. Some Catalan players, okay. I would say Kasparov, Karpov are great Catalan players. I would say that Vojkovic, very good against Catalan. Alexander Vojkovic. I would say that Korchnoi, all D4 players, good D4 players. Polazos Portis, Korchnoi, Gligoric, they are good in Catalan. Modern players, okay. All right, in this position, he goes for an excellent plan with the idea to strike e5. After e5, the knight moves, then the attack is unstoppable. The bishop on d3 is clear. So e5 is a nasty threat. Of course, complication is possible, but simple. And now white has got a ready-made plan. He wants to move the queen and play g4, g5 also. There is a simple threat of g4, g5. I told you in the last game analysis, a player should avoid making any move on the wing where opponent is strong. White is planning an attack. So black has no such systematic planning. He just wants to play out of inertia. The queen is against the bishop, so he plays g6, which is bad, weakening his own king. Finish. Now pawn into pawn e4 is not possible, and the knight cannot move. all over. Because after pawn into pawn, bishop d4, the mate will be unstoppable. After pawn into knight, bishop d4, and then queen s7, mate is unstoppable. How many pieces he has brought? White has 6 pieces in the attack. It is better now queen or king resign. So we should always check the mistake where to be. Okay, let me flip the board. Scavenging is a good setup. Nothing wrong. Nothing wrong at the moment. I think I would say bishop d7 is even more logical. Bishop d7 is much better than direct queen c7. Okay, still I would not say that this is very bad. Still bd7 was called for. Still bd7 is good. Now for example, suppose you castle, then I will play knight into and then bishop. This is okay. This position is excellent. So still bd7 cannot be a bad move either. This is okay. Castle. I guess that he should have moved the king now. Don't stay in the line. Okay, next I will go. Next game. Scavenging, tall attack. F4, B, queen F3, long castle. This is called the tall attack. And if you play G4, it is called Keras attack. Here, this is Keras attack. It is very complicated, and as of today, white still stands little better. Very sharp and complicated. White is little better. So, tall attack is very easy to understand and plan for white players. F4, queen F3, castle. Okay, it is also possible to play G4. It is also possible to play G4 because after knight into knight, he can play rook into, and on E5 he can play rook here. This is also possible. Then followed by F5 and followed by G5 with attack, or G5 with attack. Or even you can play here. Pawn into pawn also is possible. So this is also possible, but the safer alternative to play rook G1 and G4. There is no complication. Idea G4, G5 with a rapid attack. In the style of that Velimirovic attack. This is not working at the moment. This is not working. The queen will come, and bishop takes will lose material, mate threat. So bg4 does not work. So here he plays pawn into. Now you have to defend. Clearly better. Only move. How should you play now? Now attack. You have got an attacking position. Now you can play king to b1. You can play bishop to c4. e5. Queen takes pawn is not working. There is no immediate mate threat also because I have room at king d2. So finishing the game in grand style. Forced. Now threat bishop check, knight check, it's all over. So, what a move. Knight is lost. Okay, he did not calculate. Knight e5 is a blunder, but even if you do not blunder, the game is lost. Now you can say it would be very useful if you can mention the topic in the title. A lot of people. Okay. I will mention the title. Hereafter, every day I will mention the title in the topic. Okay, sure I will. In fact, I am planning. I have made nearly 800 hours of video. So I will go back and give title to each video. I will go through and make it, suppose knight and pawn ending or rook and pawn ending, bishop of same color ending. I will make a title or Sicilian dragon. I will do that. I will take your suggestion. I will give a title hereafter. Okay. So this position is also a lost position. Underdeveloped, he is underdeveloped and king side bad, everything is bad, center. So he blended knight e5, both side. Instead of played, he played this bad move. Knight e5 he played, no? What did he do? Knight e5. Knight e5, b4, immediately, no, I think, what it is the game? bc4, knight e5, b4. The piece is lost. So I would say I selected some games of Zula Sachs for this session, 3 more games. I will finish that. Reading the mind of an attacking player. Ramakrishna, you asked me nc3, d6, now d4, queen d4. This is also a good line. Now this is an excellent position because now I have not committed. The knight is not normally an f3, so this is good. Knight can come met with the bishop b5 with or queen a4, good position. Okay, this is no problem. Good for white. So here in this game, अरे overwrite किया मैंने, didn't know. Idea f4, queen f3 and attack. A waiting move. There is no need to do that. You can go right away, rook g1, g4. But because black has not castled, so white does not want to reveal the card. Suppose you play rook g1 here, he may play bishop d7 and castle long. So the rook g1 move will be a waste move at the moment. So waiting. Anyway, it is a good move, good prophylactic move. g4. Pawn e5, you take and play queen g3 is a good position. Excellent position for white. White has got lot of space and initiative. You have to strike at the position. What do you do now? You have many good plans. You can play h4 with the idea g6 and h5. You can play h4 with the idea of f5. Okay. So, nd7, he plays queen h4, queen h5. Now, you need not move the knight. You can play rook d3 so that rook h3 will kill him. Now, not necessarily the knight under attack. It is not a rule, it is not a check. So, you can ignore the knight, rd3, if pawn into rook h6, h3 is winning. So, rook d3, good move. What is the idea of the move? The idea, now rook h3, he has a knight coming defending the square. How to strengthen the attack further? How to strengthen the attack? Now, let me tell you the psychological move. Actually, knight goes back is also possible. Knight can go back, but don't you think the knight entering d5 would be killing? If knight d5 comes, the position will be just a disaster for black. So you don't have to move the knight. Now you strengthen the attack like pawn f5. Now, pawn into f5, knight d5 will crush him, crush black. And pawn into c3, then bishop g7 will crush also. Rook c3, bg7. So, he plays knight f8. Now, we need to completely uncover the castle position of the castle pawn structure. Bishop into g7, pawn f6, bishop into g7. There is no time. If you play king into, then you will play f6 check and it will go bad to worse. f6, pawn into pawn and pawn into bishop and winning easily. So only move. The simple threat of bishop h6, bishop f6. I think it is not possible to defend the black king anymore. Nothing. Met threat, and if you play f6, pawn into pawn and rook g5 will open up. So what I meant to say, all the position of Sicilian Scavenging, this is very good. It is not that. See, this is okay. This is a regular position. I would say bd7 is a safer alternative. Okay. And this is another self goal. A player should avoid making such exchanges. These are typical bad moves done by black Sicilian players. Some players. This is bad moves. These are dubious exchanges. Unnecessary exchange and strengthening the mobility of white pieces. So 2 more games I selected. Let me finish it. I did not see the interview of Niranjan on chess base, India. I will see that. Sicilian Nasdorf. F4 is not a dangerous line. In my opinion, the F4 line is it just can be working as a surprise only nowadays. It is not at all dangerous. English attack or bg5 or other moves, but this is absolutely not dangerous now. G6 is a better way to meet. F4 G6, it is better way, more aggressive. Okay. The idea is to stop. Now that he has weakened, he does not like the bishop coming into the diagonal. So this is normal move. The idea is to play be3 and idea queen e1. And just like that Austrian attack of Park, white is preparing the attack. Queen e1, queen h4. Systematically, he wants to seize the d5 square or even an exchange sack. This is an exchange sack can be very dangerous. Bishop takes, rook f6 and d5. Opening the line, I think it is coming very bad, very badly handled by black. Queen takes pawn is unplayable. Anyways, this sacrifice is coming. Queen check, queen f7 check. It is all over. Check, check, check. Finish. Idea queen and rook check. Now it is not a check. I want to take with check, not giving time. So black has played terrible. Maybe I can show you. I can show you a correct model game between Prasad and Tal. I was watching that game. After this, I will show you. Last game. Nimzovich main line. Now f4 is the standard move, but some grandmaster, they don't like, they want to consolidate the center first. Idea c5, c3, the center is intact, no bad structure. c3. This is a bad move. Bad move. Now the point is, if he will play pawn into pawn, then he will maintain that this pawn is falling. That means black will be a pawn down. You will be losing a pawn. Now if you play other pawn, suppose you play pawn takes pawn, then white center is intact. White has excellent center, and these are all overextended pawns. So any which way, black is inferior. So in this game he went for pawn takes pawn, a3. Now d4 pawn is going to fall, and that means there is a 3-1, 2-1 majority, at least 2-1 majority on queen side is there on extra pawn. It is a lost position. Position. Okay, if you play bishop takes, I will play rook into. Then it is like a hand castle will come. d4 point is already so solid. I have bishop e3 to reinforce support. So this is not working. Plus. Terrific center. Rook c6 threat. It is all lost. Another pawn is falling. Disaster, king in the center. So I would say French players, what is the question here? There are more often anything else promote their own products or someone. I don't understand what is this. Okay. All right. So this is just bad. Now I will review the opening and I will show you the Tal Prasad game. You review the opening here. No, this you need not. You just play knight c6 first. Always knight should put pressure. And now f4. Now you can play b5. Always pressure on the position. Rook b8. So direct b5 is not so great. These are not great position. This is a problem has come now. Either way you capture, it becomes bad. So I will show you one more game between Tal and Prasad in this session. Where is this one? Since I was present in the tournament, I would like to show you this game. It is a good line, f4 is a good line. So opening is okay, black is perfectly alright. White standard plan, queen h4 and then pawn to f5 is preparing. White plan is to preparing queen h4, f5 and then bishop exchange and ng5 etc. Theoretically it is an equal position. Idea, I don't want to move the knight because the knight is already watching the square and this knight wants to join. White wants to double. Here, Tal himself said that this is rook d8 with the idea, now if you double, rook d4. No, he will not come here. He will come rook double, rd4 is good. Excellent position. With the idea rb4 is coming, and now g4 all rash moves. Then he can play knight f4 with no problem. So rook d4 with counterplay. But this is not good enough. I mean, the position, white can just wait and did not do anything. So Tal was under pressure to win the game because getting into a top 2 or top 3 for the candidates. So he made a rash move and did not do. Instead of this, he played this bad move. Now counter attack comes. This is a fantastic move by D.V. Prasad, who is a good, very strong attacking player. So after this, white initiative is very powerful. Now the queen side pawns in danger. Apart from the king side, the queen side pawns are in danger. White is better. How to deal with the, what is this? How to deal with this as black? What is that? So I'm just showing you, the idea here. Instead of the last move queen e7, the position is equal here. This is equal position. This is, instead of this, Tal had played this in some Russian championship. Rook, the unused piece must come into the game. This piece must come into the game. That's all. After that, black has nothing to fear. And immediately after the game, Tal even showed to the journalist. Okay. So, friends, from tomorrow onwards, I will give the topic, title. Okay. See you tomorrow morning at 9:30 again. तब तक सबको मेरा नमस्कार. Take care. Bye.